Why intuitive UIs are important. UI design is an objective, principled form of human communication, not a subjective art. Remember WordPerfect? I vividly remember my struggle to learn WordPerfect 5.1 back in the day, and I'm sure older listeners remember this as well. It's hard to forget. Younger listeners, substitute here any app that required watching several YouTube videos to learn. And struggle to learn is the right phrase. Learning how to use the app required a significant amount of time and even more motivation. You couldn't just install the software and use it. You had to read the user manual or take a training course. WordPerfect was not designed to be intuitive. It was designed to be learned. But what is most remarkable is that requiring users to learn wasn't remarkable at the time. With a few exceptions, this was the way all software was designed. The technology industry is full of such products, many of them very successful. The entrepreneurship process was simple. Find an important problem, solve it through technology without worrying about usability, and your highly motivated users will do whatever it takes to learn how to use your solution. Software executives never had to worry that poor user experiences would result in a loss of sales, because customers expected to need documentation and training. Imagine trying to sell such software today. Or even worse, imagine trying to sell a mobile app that required your customers to read a user manual to be productive. There's only one way I see it happening: through force. If users are required to use an app, or no viable alternatives exist, only then will they be willing to struggle to learn. This approach to design now works only for highly specialized markets targeting highly specialized users, who typically lack alternatives. For the mainstream market, forget it. Goodbye RTFM. Not long ago, it was acceptable to solve significant usability problems through documentation alone. Why bother fixing the underlying design when you can just document the workaround? This is known as RTFM, or Read the Fine Manual. Users were expected to read the manual, so why waste valuable time improving usability when you could spend that time adding more features instead? This is clearly old-school thinking, and if you are still in that school, you're in trouble. This is not to say that modern apps shouldn't have user manuals. Modern user manuals focus on helping users understand how to get full value out of the product, not on explaining the confusing, hard-to-use, unintuitive UI. A modern user manual is optional, not required. By the way, this RTFM thinking doesn't just lead to user manuals. Manual-dependent UI design also leads to training, technical support, online help, and associated internet research, poor productivity, and, on occasion, very costly mistakes. And yes, watching YouTube videos counts as training. It leads to poor customer reviews spiced with words like frustrating, confusing, bewildering, clumsy, awkward, and annoying. The need for a user manual is merely the most visible manifestation of a much larger problem. The world has changed. How many user manuals have you read for mobile apps? I'm pretty sure the answer is none. I strongly believe that mobile apps have permanently changed the UX quality bar. People are walking around with great user experiences in their pockets, with apps that they can quickly install and get immediate value from, and they now have the same high expectations for the other products they use. We have a new generation of users, many who have never read a user manual in their life. They grew up without expecting the need for documentation and training. They are your next generation of users, and don't expect their documentation reading habits to change.